To the casual observer, science seems to advance through a series of elegant scientific articles, each one crisp, polished, and peer-reviewed. But behind every perfect paper lies a messy struggle that rarely makes it into the scientific record. For researchers, this unseen history of false starts, setbacks, and revisions is where the real work of science happens. Hi, I'm Karen McKee, and in this video I'm going to pull back the curtain on these behind-the-scenes struggles and examine how they teach us to be better scientists and authors. One of the most emotionally taxing experiences in a researcher's life is navigating the gauntlet of rejection and revision that characterizes academic publishing. There is an iconic cartoon by Nick Kim, a New Zealand environmental chemistry lecturer, that depicts the peer review process as a medieval obstacle course where the author must physically run through a gauntlet of hostile, club-wielding reviewers. It's funny because it exaggerates the review process as a life or death struggle. But for some of us, this depiction hits close to home. No matter how experienced the author, a rejection email can feel like a blow to the gut. It is not only the manuscript being evaluated, but the ideas, the experimental design, the data, and by extension, the researchers themselves that are being scrutinized. Each criticism chips away at the author's confidence. Repeated rejections promote an unhealthy internal narrative that tells you that you are inadequate. This emotional turmoil is seldom discussed in professional settings, but it is one of the heaviest burdens that researchers carry. However, these so-called failures in research are often the greatest teachers. Experiments that collapse, models that fall short, or arguments that fail to convince are not wasted efforts. They are lessons. Each setback forces a reevaluation of assumptions, a refinement of methods, or an entirely new line of questioning. These experiences foster the intellectual humility necessary for conducting good science, and they lead to new insights and discoveries. It took me years to understand and appreciate how much my failures were teaching me. What the public sees in scientific journals is the end point. Neat figures, tight narratives, and inspiring conclusions that seem inevitable in hindsight. The hidden stories behind these papers, however, are anything but tidy. For every polished graph, there may have been dozens of failed laboratory analyses or multiple field trips conducted in a hot, humid, bug-ridden environment, as I did. For every clear discussion section, there may have been months of rewriting and rethinking. The published version is the distilled, sanitized outcome of this messy process. These silent struggles do more than shape individual careers. They define the culture of science itself. A researcher learns to persist and savor the quiet victories, the successful experiment after months of failure, the encouraging note from a reviewer. These successes make the journey worthwhile. The emotional resilience forged in these unseen battles is as essential as a technical skill. Ultimately, acknowledging these struggles does not diminish science, it humanizes it. If you are just beginning to do research and to write papers, don't be discouraged by initial setbacks. Learn from them. If your manuscript is rejected, don't give up. Rejection is a normal part of the process. Let me repeat that. Rejection is a normal part of the process. Carefully consider the reviewer comments and use them to revise your paper. I've had papers rejected. One in particular is memorable. 3 journals rejected it. My co-author and I would meet after each rejection to revise the manuscript. We began referring to it as the paper from hell. Finally, it was accepted by a good journal. A few weeks after publication, a big surprise. Our paper was featured in Science in the Editor's Choice section. We felt vindicated in our persistence in the face of multiple rejections. Remember, Rejections come with useful recommendations for a revision. We took advantage of these reviewer comments to polish our paper until it was acceptable for publication. Few papers are accepted with minor revisions. Most go through multiple iterations, either before or after submission to a journal. Each revision is an opportunity to learn. When I began writing, I had the goal to learn something new with each manuscript. How to write a better abstract, try a new graphing program, or a new statistical method. Over time, this experience, both successful and unsuccessful, added up to a valuable toolbox that has served me well. So, the next time you read what appears to be a near-perfect paper, imagine all the behind-the-scenes setbacks and revisions that likely occurred. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe to my channel and like my video. Your support helps my channel reach a larger audience.